Zdravo svima, moje ime je Albert Šuntić, ovdje imam par nekih podataka o meni, u suštini nebitno. Predavanje će biti na engleskom iz razloga što kad dođe do ovoga da pričam nešto stručno, jednostavno ne umijem drugačije bez engleski. Ne znam zašto i kako, ali tako je. Okay, we can start. First of all, some numbers. So around 30,000 sites being hacked daily, you know, and almost 90% of those vulnerabilities come from plugins, themes, or whatever. 39% of the sites were running outdated software, actually either core, plugins, themes, whatever. And 8% of compromised sites are due to weak passwords. Now, the question, why beyond plugins? This is just a couple of things I found. So even the best security plugins in the WordPress are vulnerable. So it's good to have them, but definitely it's not enough, you know. This doesn't mean that any of these plugins are bad or anything else. It just means they are so popular, you know, and targeted. Here we come to multi-layer security approach. First of all, as we mentioned, security plugins. It's good to have. I won't say must, but it's good to have. Then we have a server configuration, application layer, and of course the infrastructure itself. We will be talking about other three approaches, so not the security plugins, but other three. First of all, you need to choose the right hosting. That's your first step, as always. Shared hosting, most of the sites, let's say, are on the shared hosting, but that has its own vulnerabilities, like cross-contamination, limited server access, shared resources, and they have some generic configuration, you know. They are not configured to host WordPress sites. On the other hand, there are like managed hosting, mostly for WordPress. So most of those hosting providers are like having the automatic security patches. There is some server level firewall, DDoS protection, malware scanning, and automatic backups. As a third option, you have the VPS, where you're on your own. You do whatever you think you should. Okay, we will start first from server hardening and actually the file permissions. Directory should have 755 permission, files 644, so that's must. Never ever use 777. Nowhere. because if you use it on your site, on a staging, you will used to use it. And we have some special cases like VP config file. It's best to have 600 htaccess for the Apache hosting, and nginx-conf for nginx. Okay, about the server configuration, as a first point, always disable directory browsing. This is like a first step always. Second step is to protect the VP config file. Third, most of the sites are not using XML RPC, you know, and if you don't need it, block it, you know. Also, the important thing is to prevent the PHP execution in uploads folder. Then you should protect non-WordPress sensitive files like htaccess, I don't know, any ini files, whatever you have on the server. Also, limit request methods. Most sites will work only with get, post, and head methods. That's it. That's all you need. You have, as point 9, also trace and track methods. In most cases, those are disabled, especially on the managed web hosting, but just double check and be sure that they are. Those two methods are used mostly for debugging things, you know. The other thing is you should add headers from the, especially security headers from the server configuration files, you know. Also, block access to VP includes, and as a 10th, block author scans. Nobody need that, you know. By scanning the authors, they can get the username, and that's something what you don't want. Here you have some screenshots that you probably don't see, but at the end, I will share with you a GitHub repo where you can find all the things, you know, that are here. WP config, or as I like to call it, VP config, although it's WP. First thing is table prefix. Never ever keep the default WP underscore prefix, you know. That's something what the hacker will first try, you know, with SQL injection. Then you have to, actually you don't have to, but it's good to disable the file editing. And especially today, I don't think there are sites that are not running SSL, but be sure to force SSL in the admin section. Also, it's a good practice to limit the post revisions, or even if you think that you don't need those, you can just turn it off. Disable also the debug. And from time to time, not just as a first installation, you know, the security keys, make yourself like a task to rotate those from time to time, you know, because you never know. WP config location. If you are in charge of the hosting, when I say in charge, I think you can access from SSH or any other way to move the WP config file above the document root. You should do that, because if you check the WordPress core code, the WordPress is projected like to look for the WP config file above the document root. Now we come to the database security. Beside the table prefix that we mentioned in WP config, you should always run your WordPress installation with one separate database user. So specific database user for each of your WordPress sites, or even if they are on the same hosting. So always specific database user. As a second point, grant minimal privileges to that database user. These are the privileges that WordPress database user needs. Every site will work with this, with no problems. And if you don't need any remote access to database, disable it. Do not think if I don't need it, no one will need. Everyone will try, trust me, I know that. And about database security, always secure your backup practices. Encryption is must, let's say. Location, never store it in publicly accessible places, you know, like in public HTML or worse, uploads folder or whatever. Naming is also important. Never use generic names like backup.sql, site backup.zip, patterns or something like that. And rotation also is important. So if you have old backups, probably you have old vulnerabilities. When we come to the backups in general, testing is important. What does the testing mean? If you have a backup and you cannot restore it, you don't have backup. Especially if we are talking about encrypted backups, you know. If you don't know the crypt key, you don't have backup. So be sure always to test the backups. That's the only way you will be sure that you actually have the backups. Then authentication and access control. Always force the strong authentication. What I mean strong authentication, always force users to use strong passwords, you know. At least, for example, 12 characters, capital, special character, etc., etc. Also, the good practice is if you can implement two-factor authentication without any plugin, you know. Actually, in the repo that I will share at the end, you will find some of these things. Also, secure the login process, meaning hide the VP login path, you know. Replace it with something, I don't know, that you will just know. Then most of us here are like developers, and we have that level of security. So as a first thing, never trust user input. By this user input, I also consider myself there, you know. Because sometimes in a hurry I put something, or if I think, okay, I will just use this field, you know, I don't need to validate it or anything else. It comes to a place where that field is exposed to end user. Trust me. Always also escape output and secure your Ajax endpoints. At least check for the knowns. There are some other things that you can do, but also you will find some examples in the repo, as I told you. Oops. User capabilities and privileges. Do not give admin access to those that don't need it. Simple as that. Create special capabilities, whatever, and give only those to the users that are needed. Because someone will hurt you, you know. Not because they want to or something. It's simple like that. Okay, about the monitoring and incident response. Always stay ahead of the threats. Security monitoring in terms, always have some custom security logging. When the login happens, who logged in, who logged out, more over who didn't log in, who tried to log in, etc., etc. Also, the important thing here is the file integrity monitoring. In general, if any one of you is using the WP CLI, there is like 2 commands that will do the checksum of the, first of all, core WordPress files, and also you have the one for the plugins, but not all the plugins support that. You will also find some examples in the repo. It's very important to have incident response plan. And here it's something that you can maybe use, you know. It's what's the first step that you need to perform? Like, it's take your site offline, you know, put it in maintenance mode. Immediately after that, change all admin passwords. Review access logs, check for unauthorized users, and more important, document everything. Maybe you will need it. The second step is investigation, and that should happen like in a first hour. Scan for malware, check file modifications. Probably if you have had that file integrity monitor set up, you would know before this happens. Also, review database for some injections and identify the attack vector. If there are multiple sites on the hosting server, whatever, check them too. Repair. First day. Remove the malicious code either by restoring the backup or whatever. Patch what you have found. If you found something, update all the components. And probably if this happened to you, you didn't predict something, you know, and you need to implement some additional security measure. Recovery and hardening. When you fix the site and bring it, let's say, online again, you definitely need to monitor it for some time. Maybe it will be a recurring one, you know. And moreover, implement the lessons you learned, not from this talk, but from what happened to you or if it happened to you. And update your security policies and schedule the security audit. So in general, these 5 layers of WordPress security, beyond plugins, of course. As I said, you should have plugins installed too. And if you see, if you do like just these 2 things, proper web server configuration and file permissions, you'll block 80% of automated attacks, etc., etc. Okay, that would be all. Any questions?
Zero has a question.
I have 2 questions. Actually, the first one is, do you recommend changing the login URL which defaults to slash double p login PHP or slash double p admin?
Yes, I do.
And second question is, are there any plugins that you recommend for security, or
WordPress is, as I know, the best one for now. But again, it depends, you know, on your needs, on everything else.
Okay, thank you.
So I like to ask something and share an anecdote. I'd like to start with a question. When you said to disable the directory browsing, do you mean like ch modding it so it's like 700? Which
No. In terms of directory browsing, like if you put for example, /uploads, and you don't see the list of the files there in the directory, you know, like directory listing on the website.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
And another thing, when you talked about sanitizing inputs, I just like to warn others of hidden form fields. They're hidden, but they're there. And I had
and those should be validated and sanitized at the end.
And the anecdote I had, I was working on a site which was tagged, and the form had a bunch of hidden fields which leaked sensitive data, but the user never noticed because they're hidden. So yeah, make sure to check for hidden fields as well.
Yeah, definitely. When I said fields, that doesn't mean only the one that you see, you know. One of those fields is you know, VP nodes.
One question, how important is obscuring emails and obscuring the author names on the website?
Yeah, it's important because, you know, in order to log in, you need, I don't know, either email or the username. So most likely the emails that are, let's say, published on the website are not the logins in most cases. Yeah, I know that.
So, you know, some users like to have office email also to log in and
yeah,
be
yeah.
admin of the website.
And that's where we come to the users, and in general, we are that should educate them, you know. And not even if you are building a site, I don't know, for some company, you should tell the SEO that if he really, or she, sorry, if they don't need the admin access to the website, don't give it to them, you know. Although they are SEO, they paid for that or whatever, you know.
And one more question, changing the URL for login actually caused an issue on one of the websites because it was a WooCommerce website, and the WooCommerce app on the phone actually wants to go to the WP login PHP, and then it can't log in and so on. So that kind of issue,
but
how is that resolved?
I believe they can do better.
Thank you.
I have few questions. How to secure Ajax endpoints beside nodes?
Well, you can have some tokens, not use or even check for the user login, for the capabilities, for the roles, whatever. But just don't expose them like that, you know, without any check.
Okay. For WP CLI, you said they have functionality for checking for checksum of core and plugins. Which command is that, and what hashing is used?
believe it's used SH font 256. The checksum of the files.
Repeat it,
The
please.
checksum of the files.
Which algorithm for hashing?
Sorry?
Which algorithm for hashing is used for
SHA
checksum?
SHA 256.
Okay, okay.
Spelling is not good.
Okay, okay. 2FA without plugins, how?
Sorry?
2FA checking without plugins, how?
Yeah, you will find the example. So it's in general, you just need a token, simple class with a token that you will generate and encrypt, etc. So that you, my approach is, for example, to hook on the WordPress events when login or editing the profile page or wherever.
I usually try to avoid that custom approach for security plugins, for security measures, because plugins always has
Yeah, I
bigger
agree with that.
authority to check everything. It will be done better than myself.
Yeah, in some cases.
Okay. And where you will share this presentation?
You will find the repo on the GitHub. Please. Here. Thank you very much. If that would be all. Yeah, but in general, there is no best way to protect, you know. What I have learned, for example, if you pay for something, it's not that big, let's say, possibility that there is some backdoor. If you see that something is free, or worse, if you try using like nude plugins, that's like red alert for the backdoors, for sure. If you find like, okay, some plugin is, I don't know, $50, but whoa, here is the site where I can get it for free, you know. There is the backdoor for sure.
One question. How much does an audit play, internal or external audit, play a role in application security before an incident?
Yeah. Can you repeat, please? How?
How much does an audit, external or internal?
Yeah. External audit is very important, you know, because although we are developers and pay attention to security, there is always something that we miss, you know, because we are working on that. And in most cases, like, we are thinking, okay, nobody will try this or nobody will try that, you know. But when you have like external company that will do audit for you, it's a bigger success, you know.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hvala.
Thank you so much.